Hello and welcome to Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Andrew.
Hello.
And Steven.
Hi there.
And in this very special, unscripted episode, we're talking about Japan.
We're talking about not
Japan.
Series
Yes.
and films.
No, we're talking about the series of Japan.
I don't know.
We're going on for a long time.
We may
3
talk about
islands.
anime
Actually,
at
it's a
some
lot more
point in
islands,
time,
but-
but
It may come up.
yeah, it may come up.
Yeah.
And the
it's gonna
reason
come
we're talking about Japan is because
Please keep saying it that way.
I was trying to
Please
say,
don't.
you know, in Street Fighter 2 where it's like Japan, and then like zzz, the plane goes. Anyways, Andrew just got back from Japan. How many trips is this for you?
This is our 4th time.
This year.
no,
Okay, no, that'd be wild.
I unfortunately do not make that much money.
Yeah, so Andrew just got back from Japan.
How long
so
were you there?
We were there for 3 weeks this time.
That's
the
a long
longest
time.
time we've
Big
spent. Actually, almost
trip.
3.5 weeks, which we'll get to. Yeah.
I don't even know what I'd do with my life if I could take a vacation that long. All of our European listeners like, holiday.
A lot of jet lag when you get back, and
Yeah.
you have a lot of work.
Okay.
A lot.
I bet you do. Yeah, you just come back, you're like, my God. I'm off for a week and I stress out when I come back.
I miss like a day or two and I get back to my emails and it's like, oh.
Can
Yeah,
no one else in my department do what I do?
Try running an online shop that does not stop or does not rest. Will not sleep for an instant.
I'm good.
Can't be bargained with.
It can't be
It can't be reasoned with. It's sentient.
Paid.
It never sleeps.
And it will not stop.
The internet is
Until
open
you are
24
dead.
hours. All right, so we're just going to talk to Andrew about his trip to Japan. So
Let's ask some
let's
questions. Let's learn.
Yeah, you
something.
guys ask me questions,
Okay.
and I will do my best of ability to answer them. And also, I'm just going to say this: any type of like travel tips or anything that I may or may not say, these are just from my experiences from the past couple times we've been there.
Right.
This is no end all be all the way to do it.
Andrew
Sure.
is neither a financial advisor, trip
Legal
planner,
advisor,
legal advisor, any of these things.
Yeah, yeah. So
Any
just,
advice given by Andrew.
Get all the disclaimers out of the
Okay,
way.
so I want to start talking about food. That's what I'm going to start with, okay? So I want
this
you
is
to...
why Andrew goes to
This
Japan.
is
Yes.
actually the reason why we've gone to Japan the second and third times is because we just wanted to go back for the food.
Well, I want you
Andrew's
to tell me
like,
about
I
the
want
food.
some ramen, dang it.
Yeah, get into some of your favorite spots and some of the favorite food you had.
Okay, so
In no specific order, just go.
no specific order here. If you ever want to go like stay in Tokyo, there's obviously so many great places to eat, and a lot of the places I'm going to suggest are actually kind of like on the lower. I'm not going to say lower tier of quality, but the lower tier of like you can find some of these. Some of these are like just local chains to Japan.
Yeah.
that you're not going to find out anywhere outside of them.
Right.
But it's definitely one of those where like these aren't like the super fancy gyro sushi,
Right. Yeah.
nothing like that. So a good short list is Coco Curry. They do tonkatsu curry, which is absolutely phenomenal.
So is that a chain or I want to know
yeah.
I want to know
So
if it's
it's,
a chain or if it's like a specific place.
Yeah, so this is Coco Ichibanya is the chain, and they're all throughout Tokyo a lot. There's not really a ton outside of Tokyo that I've found,
Right.
But they just do really cheap, good curry.
Okay.
They do it's like tonkatsu. You can basically whenever you order, you can order how much rice you want, how spicy you want it. You can add like things like cheese, whatever you want to it.
yeah.
Ryan, we messed up. We're gonna be hungry at the end of this episode.
My stomach just growled.
He's like, you can order how much rice you want. My stomach was like, "Rrr."
Oh, rice.
But yeah, so Coco Curry is a fantastic, just like good spot to do it. There's also obviously there's so many ramen places. I can't really say like, oh, this place
Right.
is the best one. Honestly, like if you just you're walking down the street and you see a ramen place and it smells good,
Go for it.
It's going to be good. Like
Yeah.
You just go full toucan Sam on us. Follow your nose.
well, no, it really works there though because like some of the best experiences for dining that we've had in Japan have
Yeah.
not been because we want to go to this specific place. You go to like
A street.
I'll say a mall or a
Yeah.
street or whatever, and you just walk around and you try and find food. Just because you're hungry, it definitely augments it because you're walking all day.
hunger's the best spice.
You know, but it's definitely one of those kind of experiences, especially for ramen, where like,
Yeah.
man, after a long day of walking like 7 or 8 miles in the city, and you sit down and have a big bowl of ramen with a beer,
Oh, man.
like it's just
Yeah,
like
I'm
and
starving.
it's cheap too. That's the thing, like ramen over here in the U.S., like you're not going to get a good bowl of ramen for cheaper than like maybe $12, and it's like
You're in the
really-
door for 12. You want some protein in there. It's like 14.
Yeah.
It's
This
an
is like
expensive item
$8
here.
to $9.
And it's good.
And it's like the best. That
better
you're
than
gonna
anything
have.
you've had here
absolutely.
for like $20.
Yeah, easy.
So, generally speaking, especially just to stick on food, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't plan out like which meals you were going to eat where, right?
Not really, not for a lot of the stuff. So there are a couple places that we do plan to eat.
Right.
So there's one place in Harajuku called Gyoza Row, and all they do is gyoza and beer. That's it.
And for people that don't know, what is gyoza?
Gyoza is just like a dumpling. So
Steamed or fried?
yeah, it's fried.
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 Specifically?
Yeah, specifically fried. They do offer steamed, but you don't want that. You want the real stuff.
Yeah, see, steamed is always okay. Like it tastes good, but it's like, you know, the terrible person in me is like, you know, it'd be better if it was fried. The southerner in me is like,
maybe I'll try frying these.
Where's that oil at?
But yeah, so like most of the like pretty much all the places that we ate at outside of like maybe like 3 or 4 specific places that we knew we wanted to eat at.
Yeah.
Like in Shibuya, there's uobe sushi, which is just a kaiten sushi or a conveyor belt sushi.
Yeah.
And you just order on a little tablet and it just shows up and it's fantastic. It's like $1 a piece.
Yeah.
It's so cheap and it's incredible. Like some of the best that you'll have just even over here when we're paying pretty much like $4 to $5 per piece over here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Well, and it helps too. Japan being an island, you're never that far from fresh fish.
Yeah.
Whereas
Oh,
like,
man.
you know, in the middle of Kentucky or something, you're not guaranteed.
Right.
So,
good tuna.
so 2 bits for whenever we went up. So for this trip, because we were there for 3 weeks, we were there for the first week with my wife's family. And so we took them to Kyoto and Tokyo, did a lot of the touristy stuff, a lot of fun. So my wife and I, after they left, we went, because they were only there for a week. After they left, we went up to Gunma and we rented a car and drove around and went up to a ryokan, which we'll get to probably in a bit.
Yeah.
But then we went all the way up to Sendai, which is, if you're familiar with Japan, you have like kind of Tokyo right in the center, and then Sendai is almost right up to where Hokkaido is, which is the northern island.
Okay.
So it's pretty far up there. And from Sendai, you go a little bit further north and there's Matsushima Bay, which has basically it's like the Bay of 1,000 Islands. And we took like a little boat tour and kind of looked at all the islands. Really cool. But I had the best tuna sushi ever.
Really?
It was like fresh cut from the bay.
Fish like jumped out onto you.
Oh yeah, like
It was
it's like it
piece.
just jumped right on, and then the dude just like prepared it right there.
Right there.
Oh man, it was so good. And I accidentally, because I couldn't figure out the little ordering system that they had, I accidentally ordered 2 sets of like 8 pieces of sushi.
Oh, dang.
no,
What am I going to do with all this delicious
like,
food?
Initially, I was like, oh man, I'm not that hungry. And then like I tried one bit, and I'm like, oh, I am so glad I did this, because the line for it was like really, really long.
Bring me the rest of your tuna.
I'm going to need a 3rd and 4th order.
I want all the tuna you have. Hold on, you may have misunderstood me here. I
mean
mean a lot.
all the tuna.
So
empty the ocean.
we ate there, and this was just like a little fish market place right outside the bay. But then when we went back to Sendai, we ate at this tonkatsu place that basically infused their tonkatsu, which is this fried pork cutlet, really thick. So it has like kind of like a strip of fat in the middle of it, and it's really, really juicy, really crunchy. But most of the time you eat it with tonkatsu sauce, which is kind of like a Worcestershire sauce, not as bad as like A1, but like it's like
It's got that kind of
it's that kind of like
brown
kind
sauce.
of savory sauce. But this one, you're not supposed to eat it with the tonkatsu sauce because it comes with, he basically puts it in a miso paste and then fries it with that on it.
So it's almost like the batter or something. Or the,
well, it's like,
batter,
so like, yeah, he puts the paste on it and then he puts the batter on it.
So it's like in between the batter and the.
It was by far one of the best things I've ever eaten.
Wow.
And so we only had 2 nights in Sendai, and we tried there the first night, and I just found it on Google, and I was like, we only have one more night here, and we're not coming back to Sendai for years at the best. So we have to eat it again. Right. Which is, like, whenever you're like in another country, like you have an opportunity cost of like, I have to make the best out of every single. Yeah. And so eating at the same place twice is like
unheard of.
Yeah, very, very rare.
So speaking of eating at the same place twice, what are the places that you've been there 4 times? What are the places that when you go back over, you're like, yeah, we're gonna have a night. I'm gonna hit this restaurant again.
Tariki Zoku. They do yakitori, so grilled meat skewers, mostly chicken, and they really big jugs of beer, like German-sized beer.
Like Stein.
Yeah, they call it mega.
What's the best beer you had while you were over there?
Asahi.
Really?
He loves
Yeah,
Asahi.
The classic Asahi.
Yeah, Asahi and Kirin. Well, and that's kind of the default over there. Is whenever you are like, if you want a beer, you don't ask for a specific beer like you do over here in the States. It's literally, I want beer.
And then they give you what they have
They
on
give you
tap.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's Sapporo, sometimes it's Asahi, whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just their own thing, but it's pretty much all just draft beer. That's
Right.
it.
Okay.
So is it all mostly like a pilsner, like a yellow, like a light?
Yeah, it's just a lager.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lager.
Yep.
That's what
They
we're
have a
talking
lot more craft breweries in Japan.
There
but,
are
like,
some, and I did have, we did stop at a couple places that did craft beer.
Yeah.
But like, so a good example is most of the time a draft beer over there for like dinner is going to be anywhere between $3 to $5.
Right.
For craft beer, $13 to $15.
Oh, they're real craft.
Yes. Yeah. So like really, really expensive. So like you got to want it.
You got to really want it. Yeah.
The other issue is too, and now some of it's a little bit easier because you can still like a lot of these restaurants have gotten a lot better having English menus or ability to like point and I want that
Images on the menu.
But sometimes they don't have that, and it's impossible to order it unless you know how to order it.
Right.
Just because like it's a very specific type of beer.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can't like just point at it or like you can see it's on draft back behind him, but I don't know the name of it. It's the gray handle. How do you say gray handle? Yeah.
Yeah. Like so there's a little bit of a syntax issue there sometimes.
So what you're saying is, when all else fails, just beer. Oh, okay, I got a beer. All right, that's good enough.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of real quick, and then we can get off food. Like,
Yeah, sure.
in terms of ordering and stuff, like how hard is it to order when you go to a place that doesn't have like a menu with like pictures and stuff?
Because you have a reasonable working.
I can't really speak conversational Japanese. I can understand it.
Right.
So like if they're talking to me, I most of the time can understand what they're telling me.
Picking up the key context here, yeah.
But it's very like I don't have the outward conversational skills to ask for a lot of things. But I know like I basically know numbers of like how to ask for 3 of something or 1 of something or whatever.
Yeah.
And most of the time, like you can still kind of point. Google Translate is pretty much always the de facto. If there's literally no other option, I can just write in like basically my question and show them like what Google Translate puts it in, and most of the time they can parse it.
It's close enough to like figure it out. Yeah.
Well, and also for like menus too, you can do the image.
Yeah,
translate.
you can. The image translate helps
You know,
most of the time.
Thinking about that now, because I've used that before with Gunpla, where it's like, hey, it wants me to do something with this part. I don't understand what it wants. Because for the most part, you just follow the images, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a lifesaver there. And of course, nowadays, modern travel, like, man, like what a help.
It does. Well, so back when like 2016, when we first went, it was very difficult to like Google Translate did an okay job, but it's gotten so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just mostly because the cameras have gotten better, so it's a lot. It has
does a better job of reading
information.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Steven, you have any questions for Andrew?
Oh, I mean, I've got tons and tons of questions.
no, continue.
Fire one off.
Well, moving away from food, let's get into transportation. So obviously you flew there.
Yeah.
But what's the transportation like for you getting around? Oh no, not the flights, Ignore the flights.
Yeah.
Anyone
Once
can go
you're
to
there.
Delta or whatever. Once you get there,
So it
what's
really
the difference? What's the feel, the flow of it?
Well, obviously, Japan is a much smaller country than just the U.S. is in general. It's just even in like actual square footage, just very small compared. I mean, relatively.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
it's
real
still
long,
a
but
very
it's pretty narrow,
it's still a very big country, but it is a train country. So there's obviously trains that pretty much go everywhere you want. Bullet trains, Shinkansens, whatever.
You got to go far.
Yeah. So the big thing is like if you were planning a trip to go to Japan, the best way to really think about it is because they've actually increased the prices for the JR pass, which is kind of basically if you were a tourist coming into the country, you can buy a pass, and then that pays for I'll say like 90% of all of your train fares for the time that you're there.
Yeah.
And that includes Shinkansen or bullet trains, which are inherently very expensive.
Yeah.
So, like, if I was a Japanese citizen and I wanted to go from Tokyo to Hiroshima, it would cost me probably about like $110 one way to get there.
It's kind of like a plane flight, basically.
Yes, it's expensive.
Okay.
So, but if I have the JR pass, I've already basically paid for all that with the JR pass, and then any other trip that I take on that, like with that pass while I'm in Japan, is essentially free with quotation marks. So you've already paid for it.
Right.
But they've since increased the prices since we've just went. So like we basically bought them right before they increased prices.
Gotcha.
So it was for like basically like $400 for 20 days. Now it's like $650 for 20 days. So you really have to...
You got to make use of that.
Yeah, you really have to look at how many Shinkansen trains you're going to be taking while you're in Japan. So if you want to go from like Tokyo to Kyoto to Sendai to Fukuoka, you know, like, and you're going all over the place, then it's probably going to be worth your time to look at buying a JR pass. If you only want to stay in Japan, in like Tokyo, and like maybe like take a day trip to Osaka, you probably don't need it, just because it's really expensive and you have to take a lot of trains to really make up that cost.
Gotcha.
We also, this time we actually did rent a car, which is the first time we've done it. And we drove up into Gunma, which doesn't have there's one train to the city, and then after that you're just kind of on your own.
You're getting kind of out into the countryside.
Yes.
The
I was gonna say, what's the vibe of Gunma?
So if you're familiar with Initial D, anime that came out in the 90s, this this is basically where that is based. So it's like mountain driving, very hilly and kind of countryside style. And it was phenomenal. Like
kind of like the Appalachians of Japan.
Very, very pretty. Because you really have like at the top of like each of these big mountains, Haranasan is like one of the big ones. It has like a massive lake at the top of it because it's all volcanic.
Yeah.
And cool. You have like this really like, you have tons of like little pretty towns and stuff and shrines.
Yeah.
It's just a really pretty part of the country. And you can't get there unless you have a car. So we rented a car this time. I got my international driver's license and just kind of bit the bullet because I was definitely very nervous about doing this. I've never driven in another country before, especially one that's on the left side of the road.
You at least practice with right-hand drive.
I do have a right-hand drive car here in the U.S.
Right.
So that part was already very natural.
So you just got to drive on the wrong side of the road a few times in like an empty area. No big deal.
Yeah, super easy.
So what does it involve to get your license?
Nothing.
Very little.
Yeah, you
just put in an application, you're good?
You literally go down to AAA and you say, I want an international driver's license. And they give it to you for $30.
Really?
Yes.
You don't have to do like a test or anything?
So if you ever had
That's wild to me.
When you're just like, these tourists are everywhere. It's like, yeah, well, they didn't really, regulate it at all.
Yeah.
Does the guy, at least when he's handing the license, go, you drive on the other side here, right? They don't even give you that? No. Like the courtesy? Like, hey, right? Like you're aware.
So it was really funny when we were picking up our rental car, like just because like clearly like a lot of these rental car places are meant for like Japanese businessmen that are from out of town that are, doing stuff or whatever.
Travel for work.
Yeah, travel for work. And then, these two foreigners come in.
White
and like
people.
I can definitely tell that they're just like, oh no, they have no idea how to drive. And I'm like, no, I do, I promise. Like, but there's no way to like really like.
You can't,
Yeah. So I guarantee you because the same guys,
you get in, you turn the Initial D soundtrack on, you spin out, and then you start Tokyo drifting.
You crank yellow line.
Well, so I could definitely tell when we returned the car like 2 days later, they were very relieved.
Right.
I love how these people are like really like, oh man, I don't know, they're gonna total the car. And they're like, well, you give it to them anyways. Hope it comes back.
They just watch the news for 2 days, watching for like some kind of terrible pileups.
Yeah.
Two gaijin.
But luckily, the Japanese road system is actually very easy to navigate. All the road signs for like major highways and like roads and stuff are still actually have English on them.
Oh, really?
That's crazy.
Well, I think a lot of this
too many tourists who just didn't know where they're going.
Well, no, it's really because of the Olympics. The Olympics has really, or unfortunate for Japan just because they sunk so much time and then COVID, but they really put a lot into making it much more English friendly or foreigner friendly, I should say.
Yeah.
And
provided those foreigners know English.
Well, that's
the
their
universal language.
That's their problem if they don't know English by that point.
Exactly. Come on.
Silly Dutch. What's wrong with you? No.
But yeah, so like
if you're listening to this podcast, you don't understand English. What's happening?
What's going on? Why are you here?
That's wild, but keep listening. We love your support.
Leave a review.
Yeah.
Push a button. I don't care.
I definitely think that the Olympics has helped with that over the years.
Yeah.
But But even then, the road systems were pretty easy. I did some crash course, like
these are the 6 major signs you need to know.
Yeah, pretty much. Of
this
like
is what stop looks like in Japan.
Well, so actually, stop looks like a yield sign over here.
That's why I brought it up.
Oh wow, that's diabolical.
Luckily, like most of the places we were driving didn't really have that. Now, the one place that we
stops, just go.
The one place that we did drive, so whenever we got the car, drove up into the mountains of Gunma, into Ikoha. Which
How was the drive, by the way?
It was fantastic.
Awesome.
It was perfect weather.
Like what are we talking?
I mean, like 70s.
What? So is it fall over there? Are the leaves changing and stuff?
It was
kind
of changing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little early.
You put some City Pop on?
No.
I did.
No music at all.
Wait, hold on. Whoa, hold on.
You didn't play any City Pop?
You cruised the Japanese countryside. You didn't play any City Pop?
Man, I am driving in a completely new country on the left side of the road.
I can't relax.
There's
Maria Takeuchi. I gotta focus up on the curves.
It was white knuckle driving the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
So really, like this is what I'm picturing. This like slow car, just like really going around, and Andrew says like, he's like white knuckles. The guys behind him honking, like go.
No, I followed the speed limits. I made sure, but so we went all the way up to. I'm getting to a point here.
You went to an onsen, right?
We're side roll you as much as possible. Don't you worry.
No, that's fine. So we went up to Ikoha, which is basically a hot spring town. It's the whole town is built on the side of this mountain where there's one staircase that goes all the way up.
Yeah.
And on the sides of it, you have like little like carnival game shops, like restaurants, and onsen or ryokan.
This is a city.
What is an onsen or ryokan?
Okay, so an onsen is just a hot spring. Okay. Ryokan is basically it's kind of like a sandals is the best way to describe it.
Okay, so it's like more than a bed and breakfast. Yes, it's like a resort of sorts.
It is. It's kind of like an all-inclusive thing. They provide the breakfast and dinner. Okay. And the dinner is a kaiseki set meal. So basically what that is a bunch of very small plates to where it's you don't choose what you eat. They basically
it's like a fixed menu.
It's like a 5-course meal.
We're gonna have the delights of Japan tonight.
Pretty much, yeah. But so this place specifically was one out of the way, and not a lot of like foreign tourists go there. Mm-hmm. So it was very much a traditional Japanese style meal. Right. That it didn't feel like they were trying to like pander to like, oh, this is what you think Japan is like. This is like this is just what it was.
Tourist food. It's just like, hey, this is just what we serve.
Yeah.
Ooh, chicken teriyaki.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And so with that, you have you could book basically private onsen rooms to where like, because I have like tattoos on my arm and that kind of stuff, which is not really kosher if you're going to like a public bath, but private bath, no problem at all.
Explain why.
Just because like historically it doesn't matter really that much for foreigners, but just because like the Yakuza have tattoos all over their body and it makes people uncomfortable.
Tattoos are taboo.
Yeah. It's just not a thing. So, but we did have this like private onsen for 2 nights, which was freaking awesome.
Nice.
It was definitely like, it's very much like hot tub level hot water.
Yeah.
And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to shower first and then get in and then like not like wipe it off because it like basically the minerals and stuff like
it's
sit
like
on your skin and help it.
You're not cleaning yourself in this. It's a spa experience.
Yes. It's a spa.
But like it rubber ducky and a bar soap.
But yeah, it was really cool because like so we did that for 2 nights.
So if this trip was an anime, this would have been the Hot Springs episode.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, where you dress up in yukata and Japanese robes and you walk around and after you go into the public bath, you drink your milk and that kind of stuff. Like it's very it's just a trope,
as one does.
Yeah, it's just a trope.
How many times did you say kanpai while you're over there?
Probably every time I had a beer.
So like 38.
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
We're talking triple digits.
So we're looking at under 100.
So it's kind of a joke between my wife and I, but we rehydrate by drinking beer at just about every meal.
Oh yeah.
And it's open. It's open container in Japan for the most part.
Yeah.
So you can just day drink, and it's like, man, I really need an Asahi right now at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
I'll tell you, man, vacations aren't vacations until they're a vacation.
Yeah, that breakfast was heavy. Better crack open an Asahi to wash it
pretty
down.
much. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. What other questions you got?
Oh man,
Anything?
Something anime related, maybe?
all kinds of
break
questions.
into that?
So when you get over there, right? Are you like? I know talking to you prior to the trip, right?
Yeah.
You had looked at like a list of famous locations from anime or like in
pilgrimage.
movies. Yeah. So did you do any of those?
For this trip specifically, we did 2.
Okay. What'd you get? What was the Great Pilgrimages?
So the first one, I wouldn't even really say this is like an anime pilgrimage, just because.
Listen, we'll be the judge of if it wasn't.
Yeah,
You just tell us where you went.
So
Okay.
we went to the Gundam factory in Yokohama.
It's a pilgrimage.
But it kind of is, but like there's no part of Gundam that takes place in Yokohama. It's just that's where the moving Gundam is, and that's really cool.
That's where they build all the tires that go in Gundams, right?
No.
Right.
You got to yes and me every now and then here, Andrew. Come on. No.
But I mean, like that's the thing is like if you walk around Tokyo or like really any like major city, there's going to be a lot of like places you're going to walk by that are going to be those locations from shows that you've seen.
Sure.
One of the big ones that's more recent that came out last year, Bocchi the Rock.
Bocchi the Rock.
So that whole series takes place. It's a slice of life show about music.
Yeah.
And it takes place in Shimokitazawa. So you have basically like Tokyo in the center. Then you have Shibuya and Shinjuku, which are kind of a little bit to the left of like the Tokyo center. And then Shimokitazawa's ish, yeah. And then Shimokitazawa is like 2 stops past Shibuya.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more towards Yokohama, Kyoto, if you go really, really far.
Yeah.
But so it's really interesting. Like Tokyo is such a big city. It's the biggest city in the world. And
it's sprawling. I mean,
it's very sprawling.
Huge.
And each location, like, so you have like Akihabara, Shibuya, Shinjuku, Ikebukuro, Ginza. All of these locations are all part of Tokyo, but they are all very specific vibes.
Yeah.
And Shimokitazawa is no different than that, where this is very much a music college town, and it really feels like there's a lot of like vintage, like used clothing stores and like music shops, that kind of stuff.
Hipsters.
Where like, very, very hipstery. And you didn't really see any of that like in any other part of Tokyo. This is like the first time I've been over in Shimokitazawa, and it was fantastic. It was really, there was like a kind of street fair happening when we were there.
Oh, that's fun.
And but yeah, so there's a couple locations that we went. We went to Starry, which is or Shelter is the technical name for the
club.
Yeah, for the club.
Did you see the stairs and everything?
So this is kind of the unfortunate part of anime pilgrimages.
Oh no,
everyone else is doing it. There's a bunch of sweaty white people there.
Well, so they actually have signs out in front of Shelter that are asking people not to take photos.
Oh, boo.
Mostly because it disturbs like kind of everyone else in the area because there's just big crowds that form. So we walked by, we looked at it, and we just kind of we was like, hey, we did it, and we kept doing our own thing.
How much like the anime did it look? Was it
it was exact. Yeah. So Bocchi the Rock did a fantastic job at realizing a lot of these locations in the anime.
It looked like they used photo references for a lot of the scenes.
Yeah, and it's fantastic, and it was really, really cool because we hit a couple other places in the area that they like go. In the anime, they go and take photos of, and you can see the wall that they took photos of, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really fun if you're really into that sort of thing.
Yeah.
In the past, we've gone to like Hakone, which is where Evangelion takes place. Then I'm trying to think of another one. There, like, so if you're familiar with Your Name, there's the Your Name steps where they meet up at the end of the film.
Oh yeah,
and that's in Shinjuku that you can kind of go to and take your photo of and stuff. But it's kind of hard to find because it's such a random spot.
A bunch of just Japanese people who are like, I don't know why these people take photos of these steps. They're just stairs. There's a whole other flight right there.
So
it's like, can you take a picture of me and my wife running from opposite sides, meeting up here? Thank you.
Well, actually, there's actually the other pilgrimage that we did for this one was Cardcaptor Sakura. So, I think it's the finale of the first season. There's a big event that happens at Tokyo Tower, and I've never been to Tokyo Tower before this, so we did that.
Which Tokyo Tower is just a tourist attraction.
It is,
right.
Yeah, you get to go up into it and look around the city and stuff. It's really cool.
Did they recently like renovate it or?
Yes, it's ridiculous.
Because the previous times you've been, have you gone to it before?
No, so we had done Tokyo Skytree, which is technically taller than Tokyo Tower, but I honestly don't like it as much because Tokyo Tower actually has a lot more like character to it.
Yeah.
If that makes
it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And they light it up at night. And it's just.
What was the like motivation behind them doing that with Tokyo Tower? Just like, hey, we got this tower. Why don't we fix it up?
No. So they actually.
Or was it Olympics driven?
Whenever you do. No. Oh, yeah. So Tokyo Tower was kind of like whenever they made this radio broadcast tower, they wanted it to be an icon of Tokyo.
Okay.
So the guys that did, they actually have this whole historical thing that they like explain to you while you're in Tokyo Tower, like going up and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really interesting. Basically, like they needed to make this radio tower, and they're like, we wanted this to be an icon of the city.
Right.
So there it is.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. And, they probably repainted every couple of years or, whatever. But
yeah,
I mean, it was honestly way better than Tokyo Skytree. Now, if you go to Tokyo Skytree, there is a mall under it that has like a Poke Center in it, a whole bunch of other like Kirby Cafe, bunch of stuff.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Did you guys go to any interesting cafes, cat cafes, Kirby cafes?
Owl Cafe.
We try and stay away from like cat cafes or animal cafes in general.
Because you'll just take a lot of the cats home with you?
No.
Okay.
Mostly just because like this is getting a little bit more in the weeds, but both my wife and I were very sensitive to how animals are treated, and we don't know unless we do a lot of research on the specific cat cafe
What's
or
the
animal
situation?
cafe. Like,
is this a cool cat cafe? Or are they like,
how well do they treat
like
the animals?
In chains, slave labor.
That kind of thing. So most of the time we try and avoid those.
Just because, you're not going to be able to do the proper research
Exactly.
to vet it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Now we did do like a Love Live Cafe, which is just an idol anime that comes out every couple of years or whatever. And they had one from a specific season that just came out that we both really liked. So we did a cafe.
So when they have a cafe like that, is it like a pop up? Is it like a temporary thing? Okay.
Yeah. So it's only going to be there for maybe a couple months.
Yeah. And how was it?
It was fine. Like,
did they do the blessing on the?
No. I've never done a maid cafe. It's not really my bag. But for these kind of like themed cafes, most of the time you're going to just be paying a pretty expensive drink. That's like just a themed drink.
Yeah.
That like, it's like this girl likes oranges, so it's going to be an orange juice drink with like some other random ingredient, like a raspberry, and then there you go. That's the drink.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like it's really fun kind of when you're there because you do get, whenever you buy these drinks, you get little like coasters that are character coasters, and it's all random, so you don't know which one you're going to get until that till they flip it over, and that's what you get. That's kind of fun. Probably the best anime themed cafe was a Little Witch Academia one that we went our second time that we went there. And I got the Susie drink, which basically like she's kind of like the witch of the crew in the anime, and basically like it had like cotton candy on the top, and then they give you like a little
just poison underneath it.
Well, yeah, so it's like a clear drink, but then they give you some kind of like basically like cherry syrup, and you pour it over the cotton candy, and it dissolves into the drink, and it turns it all red. It's kind of cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But that was fun. Yeah.
So on your trip, like what kind of anime, manga, video game related stuff did you get into?
Oh, too much.
So did you just go, is that mostly like a Tokyo thing?
For the most part, yeah. Okay. So you have like, I'll say like 3 different locations in Tokyo that are like kind of like the Mecca of like anime and video games and that kind of stuff. Obviously, there's Akihabara, which is Electric Town. That is really the most iconic kind of, whenever you think of like anime in Japan, that's what you think of is like these kind of locations. So you have like the big Sega buildings, which are unfortunately because of COVID, they're not Sega buildings anymore. They're Gigo buildings now. They're still arcades, but they're not like the classic Sega buildings.
Right.
But then you have like Radio Kaikon, which is, if you're familiar with Steins Gate, that's where basically the whole series takes place, is at Radio Kaikon building.
Okay.
But you have Akihabara, which is, Electric Town. Most of the time, like you can find a lot of like really good like character goods. So like really popular like shonen shows and that kind of stuff.
The big ones, yeah.
Yeah, the really big ones that you have like massive like Animate and Gamers, which are 2 big stores there, and Kotobukiya and a couple other like really big ones. Super Potato's another one that's really famous that does
Super Potato.
It does vintage games.
Yeah.
So like if you want to go find like this one specific Game Boy that's themed to Cardcaptor Sakura, you could probably go find it there.
Right.
It's going to be expensive, but you can
find it. Yeah.
So then you have Ikebukuro, which is kind of like the new Akihabara is the best way to describe it.
Okay.
It has a good mix of good food, good arcades, and it has a lot of good shopping around there.
And is it located close to Akihabara?
About 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, like just because it's really just 30 minutes by train. Like if you drove, you'd probably 20 minutes. But
yeah.
You gotta go kind of out of your way to the station, get there. The station's a little to the side. You gotta walk from the station.
Yeah.
Wait on a train.
Ikebukuro has Sunshine City, which has the largest poke center in Japan. On top of it also has like an aquarium, and Ikebukuro is pretty cool.
Yeah,
It has it has a big like IMAX theater and also a Capcom arcade, which is really fun.
Ooh, I get down there.
That also has the Monster Hunter Cafe. So they have like the cat familiars or whatever. I don't even know what
I'm
they're
trying
called.
to remember their names. Oh, I played Monster Hunter.
Yeah, so they have those like in the cafe that are like life size, which are pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and then so that's number 2, and the third one is Nakano Broadway. So if you're really into it for like I'll say vintage. Or like rare finds, you go to Nakano Broadway, which is basically 2 stops west of Shinjuku. And whenever you're going, you basically just get off on Nakano Station, take a right out of the station on the north exit, and you literally just walk straight into it. And this is basically a very small business oriented building. To where there's 4 floors and every single like room is just a consignment room that someone has rented out, basically.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah. So it's all secondhand stuff, and like so there's a. Like you can go and find like if you really love like Power Rangers and Kamen Rider and that kind of stuff, there is a store specifically for that. That is the only thing they do. If you want model trains, there's a dude there.
I got a guy.
We got the train dude.
Yeah, or if you're like us and you really like animation cells, there's one guy.
Oh, nice.
And he has animation cells from all different, different series and ages and that kind of stuff that like, and some of them are, like really terrible cuts that are, like probably $30 or $40, all the way up to the incredibly rare, like if you're into Macross, there's a Mume cell that he has. It's like he has it for like $44,000.
Well, because like I get that there's like a lot of cells of animation in any kind of anime, but like at this point, it's like I'm still surprised there are any original cells left by now. That, like, you would just think that like people would have bought them all by now as collector items,
or they've been lost because the anime was made 40 years ago.
Well, and that's pretty much a lot of the problem with so whenever you find like animation cells and that kind of stuff, there's probably obviously there's a finite amount per series that exist, and at this point, they have to be priced accordingly because, like back in the '90s, you could just get them dime a dozen because people weren't looking at it from the perspective of collectors.
They were tossing them in the dumpster out back of the studio. We don't need these no more.
No, if you go way back, not to side rail, like the Disney animators when they finished Bambi, they just dumped all the cells on the floor and used it to skate around.
Yeah.
So there aren't animation cells for Bambi.
This isn't history, it's my job. Palico. Yeah, that's what the cats are called in Monster Hunter. Sorry. Because it's like Calico. Yeah. It's like Calico. Why did Bambi got that? Palico. They're called Palicos. It's like I just stroked out for a minute.
But yeah, so like there's a finite amount of these cells for each series that exists. So whenever you buy these cells, it is a unique piece of art that you're never going to get.
Right.
Again, you're not going to see it anywhere else. Now, you may find one that is literally the next frame.
Right.
But, it's one of those things
what
where...
are the odds of that?
One Honestly, of her eyes are closed in this one.
Well, so one of the bits that we actually got a couple key sketches. So it's not the colored cell on the cellophane.
Yeah.
It's basically on paper of official key sketches for basically what they would trace over on the cell from Cardcaptor Sakura from one of the episodes. And there we have like basically 4 of these sheets. Then they all come in like a little pack. And each one you can like kind of flip through and you can actually see her motion a little bit, which is really, really cool.
Oh, that is cool. Nice.
So, and it's those kind of like moments, especially if you're big into like animation and especially hand-drawn stuff, like that's like what we go for is to get these unique pieces of art that you just you're never going to get anywhere else because they don't exist. You can get replicas of it, but it's not the same thing as having the original.
No, and as an anime fan, that's huge to have. Yeah,
I still think about the cell seller, say that 5 times, who would come to Comic-Con.
Yeah,
and one year he had a Ghibli Kiki's delivery service where it's like her on the broom in the rain at night, where she's looking right at the camera.
Yeah,
but it was like $3,000.
Yep.
We were planning for the wedding. Man, I still think about that thing. Like,
so do we have to get married? Can we just buy this instead?
Let's elope.
Let's elope.
So the seller, there's only one dude in Nakano Broadway that has these animation cells. He's the guy.
Yeah,
and he
guy.
He has this glass.
Does he smoke a cigar?
You want animation? I got it.
He has a glass case of all like the really, really nice ones. And if you're familiar with Ghost in the Shell, he has one of the Major where she's like in the water, naked with bubbles all around her, full background, which is already pretty rare, and a full colored cell, which is already even more rare.
From the movie, not the series.
From the movie. That is like probably one of the best like angles of that scene.
Yeah.
And he's got it for like, $8,000 or $9,000 or something absurd,
a paltry amount.
But it's one of those things where like if you I guess if you were really into
Ghost in the Shell
and you wanted that and you had the money, like it's there. There's nothing that is ever going to exist outside of that specific cell that has that moment in it. Yeah. And that I think that's kind of the fun part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So on this trip, what was like your favorite thing that you did or favorite place you visited?
Oh, man.
Yeah, Andrew, distill 3 weeks worth of vacation down. I want the one moment that made it all
can
work.
It can be food. It can be something you did, places you went.
Something unique.
The drive, anything.
So I definitely would have to say because I have a Japanese vintage sports car here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And it has always been one of those dreams in the back of my mind. I'd love to drive a sports car over in Japan on Mount Haruna, which is where Initial D takes place. I went to a couple of, that's the other anime pilgrimage. I went to a couple of the locations from the anime there.
Are you got on where the side of the road is? Like, oh, this is where the guardrail is.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And in real life, it's just a guardrail.
It's just a guardrail, yeah.
But, they have little, so in Ikoha, up in Gunma, they actually have different manhole covers that are specific to Initial D that you can go through the town and, kind of look at them and find them and stuff. But I didn't get to do it in a sports car. We had a little Daihatsu,
and if you're gonna do it, you do
rental
it like
car.
A Panda Torino, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they rent those out real quick,
dude. You bet those would go quick.
But I still got to do it. I got to drive because I've done it before with my friend Jonathan when we were there. We did it in his Skyline and it was very fancy, but I wasn't driving, so I got to do it this time, under my own power. Yeah. And that was really, really exciting, especially going around to the different parts of Mount Haruna. So we actually went to the Haruna Jinji Shrine, which is so you basically drive up to it, then you walk up a hill, then you walk up another hill, you walk up another hill, and another hill.
A lot of hills.
And then you're at the shrine.
Oh my gosh.
And it was one of the most peaceful and serene experiences I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful.
You heard it here first. Andrew, climbing hills. Serene.
Sweating my but no, I mean it was honestly
it's so peaceful.
Gunma was definitely the best part of the trip this time around. It was just a really, really fun time.
So, okay, follow-up question.
Yeah.
If there was anything you could have done different now that you had 3 weeks there, did a bunch of different stuff this time, what would you have done different? Or where would you have stayed longer, or what would you have tweaked?
If I it's one of those things where just because we had family with us and friends at another point in time, there are certain touristy things that we're kind of not required to do, but it's that's what everyone wants to do when you go to
for their first time in Japan.
I'm not a big fan of Kyoto. It's not it takes a lot to get around because there's only basically 2 train lines and everything else is either busing or walking.
But it's beautiful there, right?
It's very pretty.
Yeah, it's just the getting around is
getting around, and because it is Kyoto, there's a lot of people, and it is very touristy, and it's kind of one of those places where like whenever you see it once and it's really, really cool. The temples are fun. The Fushimi Inari gates, which is where you walk up the mountain under like all the little orange gates.
The orange like, pillars and gates.
Orange torii gates are it's really, really pretty. But unless you do it at 5 o'clock in the morning when there's no one there, it's just a nightmare. It's like Disney World.
Right.
And it's those kind of moments where like I really wish that like I want like our family and friends to experience those, but maybe not with me next time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Go on your own.
Got it.
Yeah. So and like that's like I still had an absolute blast with my family. If you're listening to this, like we had a great time, but it's definitely one of those where it's like I'm good with Kyoto now.
Probably on your first or whatever. Is this the first time you've been to Kyoto?
Time.
Second. So you've been there. You know what it is. So yeah, it's kind of like going to Disney World the second time. You know it. Yeah, so look at the castle. Okay.
Been here 1,000 years. Cool. Okay. Anyways, I'll be here tomorrow.
Well, cool. Thanks for telling us about Japan, Steven. Any other
final question for me? So you've been 4 times.
Yes.
You've got there'll be another trip somewhere in the future.
Sometime. Yeah.
What is something after this trip now that you're like, next time we go to Japan, this is what we're doing?
Next time I go to Japan, I pretty much want to rent a car the whole time.
Oh, no more trains for Andrew.
Well, no.
Good for trains.
Trains are totally good, but I really want to go up to Hokkaido, and you basically have to have a car when you're up there.
Yeah.
And I'd love to go up to Hokkaido. I'd also love to go all the way down to the bottom of Japan.
Yeah.
Down near like Fukuoka and
where's Osaka at?
Osaka is like pretty much right next to Kyoto.
Okay.
It's like a 2-hour train ride from Tokyo.
So it's like middle-ish?
Yeah, it's pretty, so, because basically Kyoto used to be the original capital of Japan, and then they moved it over to Tokyo, and basically Osaka was the port for Kyoto.
Got it, okay.
Yeah. So, like, whenever you go, if you watch Last Samurai, that whenever they are in port, that's Osaka.
Got it, okay, cool.
But yeah, so... like I kind of want to go all the places that I haven't been, essentially, which is very far north and very far
basically
south.
As far from Tokyo as possible.
Well, no, Tokyo is great, but there's also a lot of places in Tokyo that I just don't really care to go to again. Like I don't need to go to Asakusa where the Sennoji Shrine is. Like I've seen it 20 times. I don't need to go there again.
Yeah,
you know, like they're like those kind of things. But that's not because they're not fun. It's just I've already been there.
You've already done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I hope this was informative. You know,
it was
interesting.
There's so much information whenever you're doing like these kind of like international trips that take almost a year minimum to plan.
Yeah.
And there's so much information. So if for whatever reason you're listening to this and you're like, I want to go to Japan, feel free to message me. Like I have absolutely no problem.
Get on our Discord.
A great way to message Andrew.
What do you know?
Would be to get on our Discord.
But yeah, seriously, feel free to toss me a personal message or just ask in Discord. Like my wife's on there too. We will gladly explain everything about Japan that you need to know.
Yeah.
Or the best of our ability. Obviously it's going to be different for everyone. And again, all the stuff that I've talked about is not the only way to do things, and that's just how we did it.
If you develop a rash after listening to Andrew's advice, suppose it's not responsible for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But before we go, we have to talk about the Patreon.
Steven, talk about the Patreon.
Gotta promote the Patreon. That's right. For just $1 a month, you get guaranteed every month one bonus episode plus access to all our prior bonus episodes. We do crazy, wacky things like let ChatGPT tell us what kind of movies to make.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
That was a fantastic one.
Wow.
We need to do that again.
We have some good scenes. We do need to do that again. We do things like fight presidents. We taste test candy, sodas, chips.
So when he says fight presidents, just for the FBI listening, the Secret Service, CSI.
Joe Biden never stood a chance.
We looked at their presidential portraits and decided whether we could take them or not, based only off no politics involved, just the presidential portrait of all the presidents that have ever happened.
There's some stone cold killers.
There really were.
George Washington coming out with those wooden teeth.
Yeah. All right. Well, as we've talked about the Discord earlier, get on there, chat with us. We'd love to have you there.
Spoilers.
We also have socials.
We got socials. We got Facebook, Instagram. Please follow us. So yeah, follow us on social. Leave us a review. Share us with a friend. Spread the word. We'd appreciate it. Sounds like that's all the time we got. Until next time, I'm Ryan.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Steven.
And every spoiler was intended.